Moments ago, on the 5th floor of the basement, when Kim Suho and Shin Jong-hak finally faced each other, seeing Kim Suho in front of him, Jong-hak said that he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. He arrogantly asked, "Are you racking your brains to find a way to escape right now?" While taking out his sword from its sheath, with a big smile, Suho said, "Not at all." Seeing that, Jong-hak said that he was really looking forward to how long his pretentious attitude would last. He then told him to come forward. He would show the difference in strength between them. Suho just smiled at his dismissive tone. After taking a stand, he then rushed to attack him, but Jong-hak was able to quickly block his attack. Suho had expected that. He then told him that he would not be going easy on him. Jong-hak was not afraid to hear that. He was even happy. He told him to show his best ability. After that, they then repeatedly exchanged attacks. The fight between the two of them was so fierce because there was no noticeable difference in the strength of the two of them. Jong-hak then took a step forward, and forcefully thrust his spear towards him. But fortunately Suho was able to quickly dodge his attack, but it managed to create a gap in his movement. Jong-hak was then happy to see that. Not wasting it, Jong-hak then jumped up, and strongly thrust his spear down. His attack was so strong that it cracked the floor that Suho was originally standing on, but fortunately he was able to quickly avoid the attack. Jong-hak was annoyed to see him continue to dodge like a rat like that. He was determined to hit him in the next attack, but he was then stunned. He could only feel confused seeing his spear stuck in the cracked floor and could not be pulled out. He could only curse. It was hard for him to believe that he had made a beginner mistake like this. Realizing that, Suho then attacked him using his foot. It made him fall to the ground and made his spear slip out of his hand. Seeing Suho pointing his sword at him, Jong-hak could only groan in frustration. Suho said, he told him he wouldn't go easy on him. Hearing that, Jong-hak said, "Who said it was over?" Suho was then confused at that, not explaining further. Jong-hak then destroyed the floor to his left. When Suho was about to ask what he was talking about, he was then surprised when he saw a gas pipe next to Jong-hak that had been destroyed at this time. After that, an explosion then occurred due to a gas pipe leak. Suho then covered his face from the dust and gas floating in the air. After the dust and gas slowly disappeared, he was then surprised when he saw Jong-hak who had disappeared there. Jong-hak went down the stairs to the lower floor after successfully escaping from him. While looking up, Jong-hak muttered. He was caught off guard for a moment earlier. He promised to repay him next time. That was the reason why Jong-hak could be on the 6th floor at this time. He then greeted them. But he then felt confused when he saw Rachel's face. Seeing Rachel, who seemed to have a suspicious expression when looking at him, Jong-hak did not understand what he was thinking at the moment. Seeing the 3 disqualified cadets in front of them, the swordsman then asked him, "Did he do this?" Jong-hak was silent for a moment. He then confirmed it. Rachel gasped at that. The swordsman himself felt that it made sense. Because he had cleaned up the cadets, he felt like they didn't need to come here. As for the actual incident, after Jong-hak lost to Suho and went down to the 6th floor, he then found Yona and Nayun who had difficulty facing someone who was fast enough there. Seeing that, he then gave a surprise attack by throwing his spear and managed to defeat 2 cadets. Jong-hak thought, although it felt like he stole a kill, but it was true that he was the one who defeated them both. Rachel was silent while clenching her hands tightly. Jong-hak then asked them, "In any case, now I can take over the leadership of the black team, right?" They happily accepted it. The swordsman then asked Rachel, "You will come with us, right?" But Rachel said that she would separate. The swordsman was then confused to hear that. He then invited her to come with them, but Rachel once again refused. She said that she could move alone from now on. The swordsman still tried to convince her. It would be better if they moved together, but Rachel once again refused his invitation. She thanked him for his invitation. After saying that, she then walked away from there. Rachel's reason was simple. She didn't want to be on the same team as someone who stole other people's achievements. Seeing Rachel, who was now walking farther and farther away, Jong-hak irritably thought, "Why do I feel that I am to blame?" Not caring about that anymore, Jong-hak then invited them to move. After that, the mock relic war proceeded very quickly. As Jong-hak's team continued to move, they then gathered the surviving members of the black team and managed to steal 2 relics. Rachel also got a satisfactory result by using guerrilla tactics. Beyond the team victory, they both managed to secure satisfactory individual achievements. As for Kim Suho, he really showed his outstanding leadership and fighting skills in this training, plus the relic owned by Lee Ji-eun. They managed to move a total of 5 relics, and for Hajin, he managed to survive Yona and Nayun's combination attack and managed to survive the relic war in his own way. His way was very simple, he just waited inside the toilet until the training ended. He also hacked the CCTV near the cadets to watch their battle, but Hajin suddenly remembered something. He felt like he had forgotten something. But he still couldn't remember it after trying hard to remember it, so he put it aside. He thought that he would definitely remember it if it was something important. In the toilet on the 7th floor of the basement, after who knows how much time passed, Tomer finally woke up from her sleep. Her head was still feeling dizzy at the moment. She could only curse that she could fall asleep. She didn't forget the mission, she had to find the item, but she was then surprised and confused when her watch showed 3 p.m., but she didn't put any suspicion and instead assumed that the watch was broken. She couldn't believe that they told her to use this in the mission. So she then took out the cadet smartwatch that Cube had given her, but the time shown by both smartwatches turned out to be the same. Tomer could only feel confused seeing that. What happened to the watches? After she opened her smartwatch, she got one message that she had not read. It turned out to be a message from Cube announcing the end of the Relic War. There were 12 cadets from the black team, and 11 cadets from the white team. The black team managed to get 3 relics, while the white team managed to get 5 relics. The MVPs of the white team were Kim Suho and Chai Nayun, while the MVPs of the black team were Shin Jonghak and Rachel. The white team had won the Relic War this time. Tomer was then very surprised to know that the Relic War had ended. She then immediately got out of the toilet, and rushed towards the management center. After a while, she finally arrived in front of the management center. Tomer seemed to be running so fast to get there so fast, but it was useless, because the management center was closed at this time. Tomer shouted in frustration at that. After being repeatedly thwarted, Tomer's mission progress while in Cube was 0%. After the training was over, Kim Suhyuk then gathered all the cadets in one place. When the cadets rested their bodies there, Kim Suhyuk then took their attendance, but when he called Tomer's name, there was absolutely no answer from her. Kim Suhyuk chuckled at that. He wondered, if Tomer was not finished, what was that kid doing? Putting that aside, Kim Suhyuk then said he would announce the details of the results and the MVPs. The black team, 12 survivors, and got 3 relics. The MVPs were Rachel and Shin Jonghak. The white team MVPs were Kim Suho and Chai Nayun. 11 survivors and got 5 relics. Based on those results, he then announced, the winner was the white team. The cadets who were on the white team then cheered happily when they heard that. But not for Nayun. She didn't look happy even though her team had won. She annoyingly muttered, what good is it even if the team wins? The reason Nayun was so annoyed was simple. She couldn't finish her battle against Rachel. She couldn't even beat Hajin even though she had 5 people helping her, although Shin Jonghak also intervened in the middle, and also, the rumor that Hajin liked Rachel. When Nayun was thinking about that, Yona suddenly came up to her and asked, did you think about Lee Ji-eun's words? Nayun then felt embarrassed when caught like that. She then denied it. She said that she didn't even remember what she said. But Yona certainly didn't believe that. She then asked her, what if he gets snatched if you keep acting like this? Nayun gasped at that. She then blushingly asked, what do you mean by snatched? She told her not to talk weird. Yona laughed out loud at her attitude. Nayun shyly said, what is so great about him to make her think? Yona was pensive for a moment. She said that she didn't really believe in such rumors. But what if his feelings changed because she stayed away from him too much? Nayun could only be silent hearing that, seeing Hajin who was now chatting so close to Rachel. Nayun said, if he changed that easily, it means he's not for me. Yona chuckled at her answer. She then ignorantly asked her, who do you like more, Kim Suho or Kim Hajin? Nayun was then very annoyed at her attitude. She then annoyingly said that it was not what she thought, but Shin Jonghak suddenly walked up to them at this time. He then asked her, why are you shouting so loudly? Yona felt so happy when she saw him. Nayun then tried to change the subject. She asked, your team lost, right? How do you feel? While pretending to be handsome, Jonghak said that it was unfortunate, but because he became the MVP of his team, it was good enough. He also said that it could not be avoided, because she was on the white team. The antenna on Nayun's hair immediately stood up when she heard that. With a proud attitude, Nayun said that he had a point. Yona was speechless seeing her attitude, but their attention was then distracted when they saw Kim Suhyuk scolding someone at the moment. That person was of course Tomer. Kim Soo-hyuk then irritably and angrily asked her, why did she stay in one place during the training? He told her to try to explain her behavior. Tomer's face was so pale and haggard when she heard that. Seeing her not answering his question, Kim Soo-hyuk then yelled at her. He told her to answer him. Is it just a joke to her? The cadets then confusedly wondered when they saw that. What happened? Jong-hak then said he would leave first if there was nothing else. Yona then said goodbye to him. But Jong-hak's attention was not at all on her. He asked Naeun not to forget to send a message. Naeun could only feel confused hearing that. Why? Yona herself could only feel depressed at this time. She then called her. Naeun confusedly answered her call. Yona asked, if you don't like Kim Hajin or Kim Soo-ho, maybe the one you like is Jong-hak. Hearing that, while making a face like she was staring at a crazy person, Naeun then asked, are you crazy? Seeing that, Yona immediately knew that Naeun didn't like Jong-hak. She then told her that she was envious of her. Naeun could only feel confused by what she was talking about. The reason Yona could envy her was simple. Naeun had 3 people that she could choose from, while she herself didn't have any. That fact really made her sad. With that, the last midterm's large-scale practical training, the Relic War, officially ended. Hajin's body was shaking as he finally returned to the dormitory. He seemed to be very tired at this time. He didn't write the Relic War episode in detail, so he was still there just in case, even though nothing happened until the end. While complaining of fatigue, Hajin thought that he should deliberately disqualify himself. When he had just gone inside, he then saw Evangel who came to greet him. Hajin's mood immediately increased when he saw her cuteness, while carrying her. Hajin said that he was hack. He asked, did she have fun? Evangel happily replied yes. Seeing the spirit animals in the room, Hajin felt that she must have had fun. He then asked her, didn't you forget what I told you about the spirit animals? Evangel replied yes, she shouldn't let them go outside. Hajin confirmed that, but he was then confused when he saw Evangel looking all over his body. Evangel asked, where is the food? Hajin completely forgot about it because he was too tired. While feeling sad, Evangel asked, did he not bring the food? Hajin immediately calmed her down. He said that he had ordered something on the way, it would arrive soon. After telling her that, with a sense of urgency, he said that he wanted to go to the bathroom first. After distancing himself from her, Hajin then immediately opened his smartwatch and ordered various foods online. He then breathed a sigh of relief after successfully completing that. But he was then surprised when he read a news from his smartwatch. It was news about the success of the Packhorse Master Guild and the Suwon Magic Cave raid. He was originally worried because there was no news from them for quite a while, but finally the news appeared. Then, he wondered, what about the shares? He then decided to check how much the 1.5 billion he had invested had increased, and how surprised he was when he saw the shares that had now jumped dramatically. He was really very touched because the 1.5 billion he had invested had now become 13 billion. His thoughts then turned contradictory. He wondered, the amount would continue to grow, right? But he felt he should sell it now just in case. Whatever the case is, he's now rich enough for him to fool around and do nothing for the rest of his life. After calming himself down, Hajin then sadly thought, even so, will all this money disappear when he returns to his original world? In a city in Korea, at the Geronimo mercenary office, a man could be seen working in front of his computer at the moment. The man turned out to be Jane in disguise. She was now looking for a job that the trainee mercenary could take. There was a requirement in the mission for the entrance test. The mission was to kill as many people as possible, but the target had to be someone who deserved to die. After searching for a while, she then found a suitable mission. She then immediately contacted the boss and said that she found one. The boss asked, what was the request? Jane replied, Italian mafia, suspected of being a djinn. Jane then explained the mission in detail to her. The boss was quite satisfied with the mission. Jane then hesitantly asked her, did you get the answers you needed? Would Kim Hajin join the chameleon troupe? The boss said yes. He gave a positive answer. Jane was surprised to hear that. She asked, what was his answer? The boss said, he said he would contact her later when there was time. He immediately gave an answer on the day they gave him a business card. Jane felt something was wrong hearing that. Wasn't it 2 weeks ago? The boss confirmed it. That meant they would soon receive his call. She told her to accept the mission, and just as Jane was about to say something, the boss said she would hang up. Jane could only remain silent. She really couldn't understand her boss. She wondered, was it because she never socialized, or was she just not good at understanding situations? Jane decided to be ignorant about it, she just did what she was told. Near the Cube girls' dormitory, Hajin was seen casually walking there. This was his first time near the girls' dormitory, and while he was looking around, he then saw someone he knew. It was Rachel. Hajin then immediately walked over to her and called her. Rachel was quite surprised when she saw him. Hajin asked, was she on her way to the library? Rachel confirmed it, because the midterm exam was approaching. She then asked, what was he doing here? Hajin said that he had business here. Seeing Rachel's haggard look with bags under her eyes, Hajin felt that she looked a little tired compared to usual. Even though there was still time before the exam started, Hajin was confused. Why did she study so hard? A guess then appeared in his head. Don't tell me it was because of him. Hajin was silent for a moment when he realized it. He then said to her, by the way, lately you have rarely asked me about academic matters. Hearing that, Rachel thought, it feels like she took advantage of him when she found out that he liked her. She then said, trying to solve it yourself is also important. She also advised him to study too. Hajin said that he didn't mind that. He told her to just ask him what she didn't know. Don't hesitate. Rachel thanked him, because she couldn't bear the shame. Rachel then said she would leave first. Hearing that, Hajin then said goodbye. He was surprised to see her walking so fast. He was confused. Was studying that important to her? After that, Hajin then continued his journey. The reason why Hajin was near the girls' dormitory was because he had an appointment to meet Yona there. Yona seemed to be waiting for him there. Hajin then called her. Seeing him coming, Yona then asked, so, what business was he looking for? Hajin said that it was just a trivial thing. He asked, you started a pharmaceutical company, right? Yona was surprised to hear him know it. She was silent for a moment. She then said that she had no intention of hiding it, so it was only natural that he knew. All her acquaintances were the same. Maybe it had been a month or two. She asked, so what? While throwing something at her, Hajin told her to catch it. Yona then quickly caught it, but she was then surprised when she saw something that Hajin threw earlier. It was a 5-year-old wild ginseng. The ginseng was accidentally found by Hajin on the way back from the Gamak Mountain dungeon that he and Soho cleared. He had long been confused about what he wanted to do with the ginseng. Because now his money was more than enough, he didn't need to sell it, so he thought it would be better if it was used as an elixir. Having decided that, he then immediately started the action. He planned to use Stigma's mana to turn the ginseng into elixir, but, let alone turn the ginseng into elixir, the Stigma's mana was not even active at all. He could only feel frustrated by that. He had no other choice. He then thought of someone he knew who had enough connections and had the facilities to make elixir. That person was of course Yona, seeing the wild ginseng in her hand. Yona then asked, did you give it to me? Hajin told her to think of it as an investment. He told her to use the ginseng as research material for now. She could pay him back through high-quality elixir. Yona was really confused at the moment. Wild ginseng was rarely found these days. Even at the Violet Banquet, she was confused as to where Hajin got it from. Seeing her silence, Hajin then asked, is it possible? Yona was silent for a moment. She then said, of course. She assured him, it would take time, but she could return it to him with interest. Hajin was happy to hear that. He knew that Yona wouldn't reject it, because Yona's pharmaceutical company was destined to succeed, but that was another story for the next 10 years. Since she had just started, it would be hard for her to find materials of that level. Yona was then surprised when she got a call from someone. She then asked Hajin to wait for a while. Hajin understood. He wondered, who was calling her that she could have such an expression. Seeing Yona's face that looked very serious, Hajin thought, it might be better if he eavesdropped a little. The person who called her seemed to be at a hospital. He said that he was at Daehyun Hospital. It was the hospital where Chai Jin-yoon was. Lately there were strange rumors circulating among the nurses, rumors that Chai Jin-yoon's fingers were moving. The details still had to be confirmed, but Hajin could only be silent hearing the news. Yona then said that she understood. She would contact him later. While putting on an attitude as if he didn't know, Hajin then asked, what's wrong? Yona falsely said that it was just a matter of network management. Hajin understood. Yona said yes, but she then hesitantly asked him, why is your expression like that, while turning his face away? Hajin said that it was nothing, he would leave first. Yona was then surprised to see him suddenly leave just like that. She then shouted thanks to him for the wild ginseng. She promised to repay him many times over. Yona was still feeling confused at this time. Seeing Hajin, who walked further away, she was confused why he suddenly behaved like that. After finally arriving at his dorm, Hajin then opened the Book of Truth. Hajin was silent for a moment. He then asked the book, when did the devil's seed inside Chai Jinyun's body sprout? But he didn't get an answer. After waiting for a moment. Seeing that, Hajin felt that his magic power was not enough to ask such detailed questions, so he then changed his question. How much had the devil's seed sprouted in Chai Jinyun's body? Right after he asked that, the stigma's mana and the Book of Truth then lit up, and an answer then appeared in the Book of Truth. The devil's seed in Chai Jinyun's body had sprouted by 89%, knowing that the devil's seed had still not sprouted. Hajin guessed, the fact that his finger was moving might just be a reflex movement of his body, but the latent development period that he set was for 5 years, because now 4 years had passed since Chai Jinyun was in a coma. The remaining time meant that there was only half a year left. While Hajin was deep in thought, he suddenly got a message from someone. The message turned out to be from the boss. She asked when he would contact her again. Hajin just stared at the message without replying. He really felt dizzy at this time. Half a year, that means after winter ends, and before spring arrives, he must kill Chai Jinyun. While Chai Jinyun looked like he was fast asleep, the monitor that was monitoring his body suddenly showed a movement at this time. In that quiet night, in a hospital ward that had been inhabited by a comatose patient for many years, a sudden change occurred in the monitor that had been running in a monotonous line, and Chai Jinyun, who had been motionless like a dead person, his finger suddenly showed a movement at this time.